Welcome to the Real Life Weight Loss Podcast, where we cut through the confusion and get down to the truth about what really works for real people when it comes to losing weight, having incredible health, and a body that you love. We believe that losing weight is really about gaining life, doing things you never thought you could, having renewed confidence, and enjoying your body more than ever. I'm your host, Corey Little. Now let's get to it. Hello, my friend. Welcome back. This is episode number 253, and I am super excited today because I have something very special for you. So here's my question. Do you ever feel like everything is working against you? It's just like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to get going. I'm trying to make some progress with my body and my weight, but everything's working against me. Do you ever feel like you've been trying so hard to I got to get it together and lose some weight, but the world just keeps beating you down and you're in a place where you've just lost all motivation? Well, if anyone knows how you feel, it's Emily. Her story is honestly almost kind of unbelievable. She endured more heartbreak and heartache and struggles in a 1-year period than most of us will experience in a decade. If anyone ever had a legitimate reason to quit and give up, it was Emily. Her story is amazing. It's real, it's honest, vulnerable, totally imperfect, and totally inspiring. This is not some airbrushed before and after kind of thing. This is how you navigate your health and weight loss goals while getting hit with some of the toughest times of life. So you don't need to hear any more from me. Let's run that interview now. All right, gang, I am so excited. I have Emily Norris with me today, and you're going to get to hear her absolutely incredible story. And honestly, I'm almost a little self-conscious because Emily's voice is so amazing. She has such a better voice for a podcast than I do, but it makes perfect sense that she does because she's a musician and she's a music teacher, and she just sounds great. And so it's going to be an absolute delight. But here's the thing. I want to point this out at the very beginning. I'm not having Emily on the podcast today because she is some incredible before and after transformation. And Emily and I discussed this before. Don't get me wrong. Emily's made amazing progress and she has transformed in some amazing ways. But Emily, have you reached your goal weight yet?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
Emily, have you completely transformed your body in all of the incredible ways that you initially envisioned?
Oh, no, not yet. It's coming, though. I know it.
Okay, Emily, do you no longer have any food obstacles or food struggles in life?
I wish I didn't have any. I have them all the time.
So some of you at this point may be going, wait a minute. You're right, Corey. Emily does have a much better voice than you. So okay, let's get that out of the way. But you may be thinking okay, well, what does Emily have to offer us, right? I want to hear from somebody who's been successful. Emily has been amazingly successful, and her story is absolutely incredible. So with that being said, I'm going to hand it over to Emily. Emily, just please share a little bit about your story and kind of where you were, where you are now, and let's get going.
Oh, I appreciate that. I really hope my voice lives up to that awesome introduction. I don't know. But yes, I'm honored to be here. Thank you. So yeah, my name's Emily and I am a 36-year-old. No, you're young, 36-year young. There we go. So I think my story is kind of like a lot of people's. When I was growing up, probably in middle school, high school, I just had, as many girls do, body image issues, right? Just worried about what I looked like, comparing myself to others. So I feel like I was always self-conscious about my weight, but I was never considered super overweight. I was always pretty healthy and nothing hindered me from doing what I wanted to do. And then when I graduated college, I got married to a wonderful man named Caleb who loved me just as I was. And but as soon as we got married, he lost his job. And I was the main source of income. So I made $26,000 a year teaching music at a small private school. And that was our only income for 3 years. And so during that 3 years, I lost a ton of weight, but not because I went on a diet, because we could eat, we had groceries, but we just didn't go out to eat. I was super stressed with being the sole source of income. And I went from 160 pounds to 120 40 pounds just from stress and just from not eating. Now, of course, I felt that I looked pretty good, but I felt horrible. But then everything kind of went back to normal. My husband got a job. We moved to another state. And guess what happened? The weight ticked up and up, really, because I started eating again, really. And also I just didn't understand how to eat well. I didn't do it right the first time. So then just years and years went by. My weight just ticked up and up. I never went on any kind of big diet. My mom did Weight Watchers and taught me a little bit of the Weight Watchers thing. Of course, the keto, like, I looked up low carb stuff. Those are kind of the two, and intermittent fasting. Those are probably the three big things that I tried maybe for a week. I was never consistent with anything. Like, I would do it and be like, this is hard. I don't want to do it anymore. So the weight ticks up. And then in 2021, my husband and I decided that we're ready to start a family. And so then, because we don't have any kids, so we're trying to start a family, and we were fortunate. I got pregnant right away, but then lost the baby. So I had a miscarriage. And of course, when they tell you have a miscarriage, one of the things they'll mention is that, if you lost weight, that would, it can't hurt, that would be the best thing to do. So that's when I found Corey and this awesome Inner Circle group. And I was like, you know what, I'll join. I'm going to do it. So after joining, 3 months after joining, I got pregnant again. I'm like, yes. I made some progress in the course and was doing some things to change my water and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is working. Like, I got pregnant again. And then 6 weeks later, we got the news that lost another baby. So this is miscarriage number 3 at this point. And I'm still in the Inner Circle group, but I'm going, obviously we're super stressed and super depressed. And I'm just like, what's the point, right? Like, what's the point of trying to change my body? Because I changed it a little bit and it didn't do any good. And now they're telling me, well, it might not be your weight. It might be something else. And so so I had 3 miscarriages. And while I'm in the group, I had 3 more. And so we have gone through 6 pregnancy losses in the last 2 years. And that has been really, it's been horrible. It's been, just such a stressful and trying time. But in the process of all that, I've learned a lot about myself. And this group, I never left the Inner Circle group. I could have. I think I had every reason that I could just quit and not worry about my weight, that it didn't matter anyway. But something just kept me going in the group. I didn't do a lot. I didn't, post a lot. I didn't come to a lot of the coaching calls. I wasn't engaging a lot, but something kept me signing up. Something kept me in it. And I'm so glad that it did, because finally, after my last miscarriage in February, I'm like, you know what? I'm done being sorry for myself. Yes, my situation's bad, like, shouldn't happen to anybody. But I'm like, I've got to change something. I've got to change my body. I've got to do the work and do this for me and not for pregnancy, not for anybody else. Just do it for me. And I owe it to myself. And so I finally, after listening to the podcast, listening to all the coaching calls, it's starting to sink in, starting to bury itself in my brain. And I'm like, I'm going to do some action. So since February, I've lost 20 pounds. Yes, it took me a year and a half, but I'm 20 pounds down and I'm hoping to lose a lot more. And I just feel so much better, but it took a while to get here. That was a long story, but that's my background, and that's my
I think you say that's a long story, but I think any female that's had 1 miscarriage, much less six total, correct?
You got it. Yep.
Yeah. I think anyone that's had 1 miscarriage, much less 6, could talk about that process and experience and how it impacted them for all day long, for an hour or 2 hours or all day. And so you condensed it to, I think just a few minutes. You condensed it in an incredible amount. I'll never forget, Emily. Maybe it was at that 3-month mark where you had your 3rd miscarriage, and we knew, because Emily joined the group and she shared with us in the group, like, hey guys, I'm really excited to be here. And according to my doctors, if I lose some weight, it will, increase my odds of having a successful pregnancy. And that's not uncommon. We see people who come into the group for that reason. And so we're like, fantastic. So excited you're here. Let's do it, and we're cheering her on. and she's doing great, and she's engaged, and she's taking steps. And I'll never forget when she posted that she had another miscarriage, and the doctors basically shared with her that, based off everything we understand with what's going on with your body, we're not really sure if losing weight's going to help with this. And in that moment, in my mind, I was like, Emily's done. I didn't dare say that to her, but I thought, I didn't think Emily's done because she's weak or because she's, being a victim. I never thought any of that. I just thought, dear God, if I was in Emily's shoes, I would be done. Like, that's why she joined the group. She didn't come in and go, oh my gosh, I just want to lose this weight, for so many other reasons. It was specifically to help have a successful pregnancy. And then suddenly the very thing that was motivating her was gone. And I think I said to you in that post, or maybe on a coaching call around that time, Emily, I think I communicated like, I totally understand if you want to quit or if you want to stop. Didn't I share something like that?
Yeah, you did. Absolutely. You were like, if you, nobody is basically, it was like, nobody is going to blame you if you just stop and just quit for now. Guess you can always come back later. But it was just, I still don't know if I can explain exactly. I'm not going to say it's a certain moment where I'm like, I'm going to keep doing it. It was a series of moments where I'm like, I can't stop doing this, like, because it's not about losing weight. It might not be about losing weight for pregnancy anymore. But it's about, again, just doing it for myself. I'm used to doing things for others. I'm a teacher, and so I teach kids, and I'm used to giving a lot of myself to other people. I think a lot of us are, right? We're used to giving, and it's just like, I need to find a reason for me. I want to do it for me. And so, like I said, something, I don't know if it's divine intervention or what happened, where I was like, nope, I'm going to sign up again. I'm going to keep doing this. I got to keep doing it. The Bible says, good companion or evil companions corrupt good morals. And I think the opposite's also true, that good companionship, gives you, good morals. So it's like, if I keep being in this awesome group with these supportive people, it's going to sink in sometime, right? It has to. I have to surround myself by good people, which is scary for me. I did it. I'm kind of a private person. My husband and I are both really, super private, consider ourselves, we don't share a lot. But I'm like, there's some magic here, and I want to like keep doing this. So yeah.
Well, you're very kind to say that. And I'm obviously, 1,000% biased, but I do believe the inner circle is full of amazing people, and it's just an incredible, magical place. But here's the thing that you can't see from where you're sitting. You are a massive part of that magic, and you help to make it that special place. And so
I do try to give support as I receive it as well. I can do better, but
well, you do a wonderful, amazing job of that. And so I just want to dig into a few things surrounding these parts of your journey, because what I know for a fact, there are people out there listening, definitely women, but also men, who feel like the deck is stacked against them. Like maybe, it's everything is working against them when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to losing weight, when it comes to staying consistent. They have terrible genetics. Oh, nobody supports them. Man, they have a medical condition. They can't exercise. They this and that and so forth and so on. All these things, right? And so, like, what? And I'm not saying that any of those things aren't legitimate reasons. Just like with Emily, right? Like, I get it when we feel discouraged and defeated. It's like, why should I keep going? So Emily chose to stay engaged. But Emily, what do you think? You mentioned February being kind of a turning point. What do you think it was that precipitated that led to that turning point?
Yeah, it's like I said, it was so hard to pinpoint, because I feel like, true transformation and true change doesn't come from one external event. It comes from a series of things, a series of moments, right? And really it comes from more internal things that happen. So yeah, February. So I had started, again, I'm still in the group, right? And in December, was after my I had a miscarriage in November 2022. December, I'm like, I'm going to start exercising. I'm going to start working out. So I started, working out more. And so I felt better. So I was doing that. That was a thing that I'm like, okay, this is moving me forward. I'm doing good, but it's still, I wasn't changing a lot of my nutrition as much as I needed to. But my exercise was there. So that was one thing that moved the needle. February was my most recent miscarriage. And I suppose that was probably what sent it over the edge. I'm like, we are seeing, starting to see a fertility specialist. We've got that going. And I'm like, at that point, I'm like, I'm going to do this for me. Maybe a baby happens, maybe it doesn't, but I have to be happy with my body, with my nutrition, and I'm ready to do it. And February was when I really started to do the steps that you outline in your inner circle group in your program. And I had done the mental work for I had done it a little bit at a time because I had been listening to the calls. I've been going through the modules, learning all of these things. And I think all of that finally clicked when I started doing some actions, right? Because you got to do the actions whether you feel like it or not sometimes. And then since I had that mental part, I'm still working on it, of course, but since I had it a little better, that just made it a lot easier. I could do this step. Let me add this one, and it's a snowball effect where it's just like, I'm doing this and this is actually easy. It's not that hard anymore. What is going on? So I don't know if that answered the question very well, but I feel like, probably a lot of your audience, we understand that, change, we can't sometimes pinpoint one moment where something changes. It's kind of a series of things.
Yeah. And that was kind of a trick question. Because I agree with you 100%. And I didn't know if you felt like there was something that you could really identify from a coaching perspective. I want to pull a few things out of what Emily shared there. And Emily, if I'm way off in left field and I'm crazy, then you can say, Corey, no, I completely disagree with that. But from and this is kind of like our interactions on coaching calls too. From everything Emily shared, there's a few things that I want to point out to all of you. So first of all, and this is something that gosh, I've said it on the podcast so many times. Emily, I'll share it in the group. Guys, gals, you cannot fail if you don't quit. Emily had every opportunity to quit. And there were times, and this is something we talk about in the coaching group, stopping versus quitting. There were times when she might stop and go, okay, I feel too discouraged right now. I just had my 5th miscarriage, my 4th miscarriage, whatever. I'm just going to stop. I'm just going to push away from this for a little while. But she never quit. She never went all or nothing. She never gave up on herself. She never gave up on the pursuit of a healthier her. And so, number one, you can't fail if you don't quit. And Emily, whether she embraced that as her mantra or she just kind of knew, like, I'm not leaving this program. Like, this can be helpful for me. Right now, I'm not in a place for it, but I'm not leaving. And I don't say that to try to get everybody to stay in my program. I don't care what you're doing out there, but whatever it is, you can't fail if you don't quit. Now, if it's totally unrealistic and crazy, that's one thing, right? Like, keto plus his intermittent fasting plus his counting macros 24/7. That to me is not a great solution. But in general, in this weight loss process, you can't fail if you don't quit. That's number one. Number two, Emily, so beautifully stated. She understood, she didn't even say it this way, but she understood the importance of community and of surrounding herself with people who are on a similar journey, who are positive and encouraging, who are authentic and vulnerable, who will connect with her and support her. She understood the importance of that. It's often said we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Think about that, gang. A lot of times we don't even get to pick those 5 people, right? Those are just 5 people that we happen to spend the most time with. Emily was very intentional about, this is an incredible community. I want to be surrounded by these people. I want to be surrounded by this coaching. I'm not leaving. Yes, right now, the scales don't look like I'm making progress, but I'm not leaving. If she had left, she's now 20 pounds down. She feels so much better. She's on a really positive track with her health and with her weight. If she had left, she would have never gotten to where she is now. So that's the second thing. The third thing that I want to talk about. So in typical, I'm so sorry, Emily. I told Emily before we got started, I was like, Emily, I'm going to be quiet because I want you to share your story. And then here I am like burning it up. So
you are the expert. No, you're
no. I just stayed at a Holiday Inn last night or whatever that commercial says. But anyways, the third thing that I want to share, the typical diet mentality basically says, just forge ahead, force changes with your nutrition and exercise, whether you like it or not. and then just plow ahead towards results on the scales at all cost. And what I believe and what I teach, for any of you that have listened to this podcast for any amount of time, you know this. In order to change your body, in order to truly change your life, you must also change your brain. And so the typical diet mentality is just change your brain, or excuse me, just change your body, just force changes with your body and ignore the brain. And what we do in the group is totally different. And because it's totally different, what happens sometimes, and this is, Emily, you kind of alluded to this, but I don't know if you realize how much you did this and how much you laid the groundwork for your success. Sometimes our brain changes before our body does. And that, I feel like that is exactly all those months when Emily was going through miscarriage after miscarriage. She was doing the mental work in the group. She wasn't totally absent. She was still there. She was still on coaching calls from time to time. She would still post in the group from time to time. She was moving through some of the mental exercises and the mindset work and the reprogramming and mind renewal stuff that we teach in the group. And so, Emily, I believe wholeheartedly that those months and all of that work you did is part of what sets you. And again, right, it's no one thing, but all of those experiences, all of that work, all of those exercises, all of that deep probing and digging that you did mentally is part of what sets you up for the incredible success that you're experiencing now. I think another thing that was very, very huge and a big part of that was, oh my goodness, and this, we can go so many layers deep. In February, you made the decision, it seems like to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, for the first time, to go, I'm not just doing this so I can have a kid. I'm doing this for me now. And essentially, whether you realize it or not, you let go of that primary goal that you had from the beginning. And so many of you out there, so many of you, it's not about having a kid, but it's about something else. I so desperately want to lose weight because fill in the blank. Because the last time I weighed 160 pounds, I was really happy because I know that I'll feel more attractive, because I'll be more confident, because whatever. And then we get stuck on this number. Oh, if I can only lose 40 pounds. Oh, if I can only get back to 150. Oh, if I can only get under 200 pounds, whatever. And then that becomes this massive goal, this massive thing that's hanging over our head. And we don't even realize it. But sometimes it is the very thing that sinks our ship. And Emily, whether she realizes it or not, I'm just now putting words in her mouth. Emily, I'm just muting you, and I'm just going, whether she realizes it or not, in February, she let go of that thing. She let go of the thing that might have been sinking the ship, and that freed her up. That, along with all the mental work she had done for those months, set her up for incredible success. It freed her up to actually take steps and to move in a positive direction. Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. Everything you said, 100% right. Like, you put the right words in my mouth. And I was actually going to mention, I just want to add that, yes, like the mental work for me came first. The body change didn't really come. For some people, it comes the same. So when they change their brain as they're changing their body, and it comes at the same time. And I've seen that happen with people in the group. But for me, and a lot of us in the, like, for instance, me in the past, my body changed first. My mind wasn't changing at all, right?
That's
that didn't work.
Old school, typical diet mentality. Exactly. Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, you got it. No, that's right. And during this year and a half, or I guess 1 year that I was in the program, I was doing the mental work thinking that I was doing nothing, when actually I was doing everything. Like, that's what it took.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. And it doesn't show outwardly, as far as body changes and stuff. But if I were to go back and tell my old self, if I could tell, if you have any 20-year-olds, who are young, and I would tell that, like, you're doing the mental work is the hardest part. And if you can really like you said all the time, if you can change your brain, and it's not easy. Like, it's actually could be easier to change your body sometimes, because like you can just you can go on it, like you said, go on a certain diet and change your body, but it won't stay. But when you change your brain, it's almost hard for it to not stay, because it's like stuck. I now have all these skills and things where I feel like now I can't fail. How can I fail with like my brain the way that it is now, So I feel like, yeah, I've lost 20 pounds and I'm like, I can lose 20 more. Like, I can do this because it took 1.5 years, but my brain's like, yeah, I I can do this. So I would definitely just reiterate the fact that if we put in the work, early with changing how you think about things and about nutrition and your actions that you take, that it makes a difference, and it will. And you just have to be patient. I'm a very impatient person. That was hard for me to learn, but I'm learning as I get older that you got to be patient. Good things come to those who wait. So, and work.
Look, guys, Emily just explained how powerful and helpful and really necessary it is to change our brain, to change how we think and change our approach. After doing this mental work, she just said it, now I feel like I can't fail. With my brain the way it is now, I'm like, how can I fail? Doesn't that sound amazing? Now, some of you may be thinking like, yes, like this totally makes sense, but dude, how in the world am I supposed to get there? How in the world am I supposed to change my brain? I know, I get it. It's not necessarily an easy thing to do, right? And this is why I'm offering a free live class on August 17th at 8 p.m. That's a Thursday, August 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will teach you some of the most powerful stuff that I know about losing weight. Look, if you're ready to do what I just said was often the missing link, what I just explained to you, to be able to change your brain like Emily was talking about. If you're ready to learn a different way to go about losing weight that will improve your confidence, reduce your stress around food and around dieting, and improve your relationship with yourself, then mark it down on your calendar, Thursday, August 17th, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I will walk you through how I coached Emily and so many others to incredible results that not only change their body, but also change their brain and change their life. I'll tell you what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. Plus, I'll also answer any and all of your questions right then and there. I am there for you live. So just go to everybodyhatesdiets.com. I'll include that link down in the show notes and register. And then this is so important, actually attend. The attend part is vital. You don't get any benefit from registering but not attending. I only do these live events 2-3 times per year, and I don't send out replays. So pause this episode right now and go register. Go to the link in the show notes, everybodyhatesdiets.com. Register and attend, and actually attend on Thursday, August 17th. You will not regret it.
So yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that. And I wanted to also reiterate the community part. Like I said, we're kind of private. And so I was really hesitant to join a group because I'm like, I want to do this by myself. It could have been a pride thing. I grew up with parents who were just very kind of high achieving. So it was like, you do this yourself kind of a thing. Like, I mean, it's good to be independent and do it yourself, but it was always like, you don't need anybody else. But I'm learning that it's not weakness to be in a community and be in a group and to need somebody, because you're going to need somebody in the future. You can't do it all yourself, not because you're weak. And I still tell myself that, because sometimes I still feel like, oh, like I need to just do this by myself. No, I think that's another thing that helped me too, is that if I wasn't in a wonderful community and a group, I don't think I would not have been as successful. And that's weird for somebody like me to say, because I just joined a group fitness class of like several months ago for the first time. I didn't want to do that either. I'm like, no, I don't want to work out with other people, but joining the right community and the right people can really set you up for success too. So don't be scared to try a group and a community, because it might just be the thing that you need.
So well said. So beautifully said, Emily. Think about this. As you were sharing that, think about this. Imagine you're at your third or fourth or fifth miscarriage along this journey, and you just have a diet program that you're doing. Or maybe you're just working one-on-one with a coach, right? It might have been enough to pull you through that, but I don't know. I can't help but wonder if that would have led to you, just floating off and going, well, I'll get back to this later, well.
That's a good thing to mention too. When I've been going through these, my husband and I both, we've been going through this fertility. Nobody thinks you're going to have fertility issues. Like I thought, at 33 years old, when I was like, we're ready to have a child. I'm like, yep, yeah, we just do it. Yeah, it'll happen like easy. But it hasn't enough like that. So a lot of us think, it goes a certain way. And when I had all those miscarriages, we didn't announce that to hardly anybody. We did not share it. We barely shared it with our families. We didn't even want to share it there. But as soon as I decided to kind of open that up and announce that, I got so much support, and I feel like I helped other people too, other women who, miscarriage is kind of taboo. A lot of us don't want to mention it or talk about it. And so I feel like it's helped others too. And so when I realized that can help me and others, I'm like, there's some power in sharing things and being in a community. As much, you're not sharing everything, just sharing what you're comfortable with, obviously. But yeah, if you're scared to do it, just try it, and it might just open up a whole new world like it did for me. So yeah, it's worked. It's really worked with a lot of that, with my nutrition and weight loss, and my depression from miscarriage, and my husband's as well. And it just, you get with the right people. Again, surround yourself with the good people, and a lot comes of that. So I want to mention that too.
Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. Okay. I'm sorry. I promise I'm not going to keep doing this after stuff Emily shares, but she shares such great stuff that I just like want to add little morsels, which turn into a lot more than a little morsel, but I'm 100% in agreement, Emily. I believe we're meant to be in community. I think that's the way God designed us. And I'm a private person as well, which may seem weird because people are like, dude, you have a podcast and a website and like, all this stuff, but go look at my personal social media. There may be 2 posts over the past 12 months, like I'm a private person. So I totally get that, but it never fails like connection with other humans. And especially when it's authentic and there's a willingness to be vulnerable, it is so incredibly powerful. And you said it so well. We never realize not only that it will help us, but just how it might help someone else. And that's one of the biggest things we see in the inner circle group is people, like some people get in there and they're like, oh my gosh, like it's so, like I always thought it was just me. I always thought it was just me that had those feelings. I always thought it was just me that, that came down on myself like that, or that, screwed everything up at night and ate a bunch of cookies right before. But I always thought that was just me. And now I realize like, oh, wow, there's so many more of us and we can do this. We got it. We'll do it together. So
you realize you're not the only one. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
You realize you're not the only one. And you can also learn, even though, like, for instance, this coaching group, if you're coaching another person, not coaching me, specifically, that doesn't mean that I can't learn from it. In fact, that's how I learned. That's how I changed, is because I watched all the replays and I learned from your coaching with others, because almost all of it could relate to me. And sometimes it is easier to not be coached yourself at first. It's kind of, sometimes it's easier to listen to, you do it with somebody else. And it's really powerful, because like, I'm like, yeah, that relates to me. And then sort of you feel like, okay, maybe like I can share something and he can coach me. But a lot of the, magic and the power came from listening to you coach others. And I think that's a big thing too. A lot of us, some of us are about, no, I'm different than everybody. I'm a unicorn, right? I'm a unicorn. I'm different. I'm not going to learn, when he coaches somebody else. But I learned pretty much almost everything from hearing you coach others. So yeah, that too, because you can learn from others.
You said the magic and the power came from that. Emily, I'm sorry, I have to correct you here. The magic and the power came from you, number one, refusing to give up. Number two, you having the courage to step outside of your comfort zone and share things and connect and be in that community. And then number three, you having the willingness to go, wait a minute, I'm going to spend time listening to these coaching call replays. I wasn't able to attend. I chose not to attend, whatever the case is, but I'm going to check these replays out. I'm going to carve time out for that. And then you realizing like, wait, this can apply. This is helpful for me, because like you said, it's, and whether it's pride or ego or just whatever, the whole unicorn syndrome, like we do feel like, wait a minute, like, well, if it's not my specific question, I have nothing to learn. And I think that it is easier sometimes to learn from what other people are learning. Because I know in the group, it's like, dear God, what's Corey going to say? Like, if I ask him a question. And so I think you bring up a great point there. The one last thing I want to tack on is earlier you said, and gals, don't miss this. Emily said earlier, she was like, the mindset stuff is so important, right? Like once you do the mental work, that's the really hard thing. She said, I feel like I almost can't fail now. Like I've lost 20 pounds. Yeah, of course I can lose 20 more pounds, right? And she said, I feel like I almost can't fail. When we do this right, when you do the mental work, the weight loss is a side effect. Don't would you say that's, I mean, not saying you didn't have to do anything else, Emily, you took the other steps, but it was like it's like driving with a park brake on, and then you go, oh wow, I realized I've had the brake on this whole time, no wonder my car's struggling. And then you take the park brake off and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so much easier. Isn't that kind of how it feels?
Yeah, great analogy. That's exactly how it feels. You feel like you're stuck, and then it's like, wait, now I can just go. That was easy. Yeah, I totally agree. I like that. It is kind of a side effect, actually, because it's like, I don't feel like I'm trying. I'm not on a diet, and I don't feel like I'm on a diet. I don't feel like, oh, I have to, eat this certain thing, right? My husband and I just went to see the new Mission Impossible movie. I got popcorn at the movies. So it's like, I'm not depriving myself of things I want, but it's like, I don't feel burdened by like needing all that sugar and that stuff anymore. So it's powerful. It's a side effect. This is easy now. And I know y'all are like, I don't believe you, because I wouldn't have believed me either. If I'm listening to me talking, I wouldn't have believed me either, but it is true. It can happen.
and I'm so happy you mentioned that. And people are out there like, wait a minute, I think Corey paid Emily. He found a voiceover person, and he was like, look, we're going to have this conversation and just say that everything's easy. Okay. And here's the thing. I don't want any of you to miss this, right? Don't just hear what Emily just said. Like, now it almost feels kind of easy. Emily's been at this for over a year. She's done a lot of really hard work. She's endured so much incredibly tough, incredibly challenging things. And now she's at a place, like any skill in life, like any skill, the more we practice, the more we come back at it, it gets a little easier and a little easier and a little easier. And that's where Emily finds herself now. And it's incredible. So,
that's right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What am I going to ask you now, Emily? We could just keep going on this. This is fantastic. But
have we gone too long? I don't know.
No, I don't know. I have no idea what time we started. I hope this is helpful for other people. I may have enjoyed this more than anyone else.
I enjoyed it too. I hope it's been helpful.
I'm going to throw two or three. I guarantee it's been helpful. I'm going to throw 2 or 3 questions at you, and you can pick one or some combination of these or whatever, and just share whatever comes from your heart. But number one, what's most different for you now? Number two, what surprised you most about kind of your whole journey and the process? And some of these we may have already answered. And then number three, what's probably the biggest like game changer aha realization that you've had up to this point?
Yeah, I think we've touched on those things, but I'll summarize it. There's actually 2 big things that, kind of aha moments and that sort of changed for me, is that your brain comes before your body. So like if you can change your brain, which is, a lot of you might be scared. It's like, oh my goodness, 1.5 years and I won't see results after 1.5 years. A lot of people, it doesn't take as long as it took me. So
there's a good chance if you don't have 4 or 5 miscarriages, you'll probably get results faster than Emily. No,
I was about to say, no, I pray that nobody, I mean, I know people have gone through it, but that will not, most likely will not happen. But to be patient with yourself, with things that happen in life, because your life is not going to go how you want it to go. A lot of your listeners are probably they know this most likely. But I'm still learning that, man, my life is not going how I thought it would. And I can't use that as an excuse to not take care of my body and to not take care of me because things will always happen. I'll always have something life altering, hopefully not in a row like it was, but there's going to be something. And I had to learn to work with that, and giving me the skills and the mental work and, processes to work through those and to go through it. So that's one thing, is be patient. It doesn't happen right away, and you have to go in order, do the brain first, because it makes it way easier. And then the second big thing is we've talked about it, community. that's a big thing that I have learned in this group, in my workout class, in my business as well. I just like feel like I've grown a lot as a person just from being with the right people. And those of us who are shyer and more private, it's hard for us to do that. But if you just take the baby steps to, join, have a group of people around you. And so that's been the other big thing that I've taken from, this whole process, is that community is important and you have to be patient with yourself.
So I feel like sometimes, in podcast episodes, especially the ones that I record by myself, there may be one or two little gold nuggets. I feel like in this episode, it's like somebody just cracked through and found an entire gold mine. I mean, all of these things that Emily's sharing, and I don't say that to make you feel good, Emily, but all of these things that she's sharing and that we've been discussing, guys and gals, these are things that can completely reshape and redefine how you approach weight loss. It's so true. And she shared one right there. She said, be patient. I just realized I had to be patient because, my life isn't going exactly how I expected it to. And I can't just stop this and totally put it off until life is going how I expected it to. Newsflash, my friends, life rarely goes how we expect. There will always be something. We keep waiting for this perfect time. We keep waiting for the right time. There will always be something. And that's something that we discuss in the group. We have to learn to ride the waves of life. We can't, I'm off the wagon, I'm on the wagon. That's an on-off mentality. Oh, I fell off the wagon and I'm run over by the struggle bus. I understand, like, if you're stuck in that old school diet mentality, that's how you're going to feel. But once you embrace a totally different approach, it's, wait a minute, I'm not on or off a wagon. Like, I'm riding waves. Like I'm riding on a surfboard or on a boogie board or whatever. I'm riding the waves of life, and some are bigger and some are smaller. And I'm just figuring out how to navigate all of this. And that's exactly what Emily's done. And she's experienced some freaking tsunamis, but she has figured out how to do that. And she's understood this truth of, I can't keep putting this off. I don't want to keep putting this off. I'm going to figure out how to implement this in my life while these other things are going on. So, okay.
That's right. And I just imagine I have wiped out on those waves a bunch of times too. You wipe out, but I never got out of the ocean. I still kept, kept riding the waves. Exactly.
Even though you wiped off, you didn't even though you wiped out, you didn't take yourself out of the game.
Yeah.
Like you stayed in the game and you went, okay, wait a minute, man, that was a nasty wipeout. I got a head full of water. What can I learn from this? Here's my surfboard. Here's my boogie board. Let me crawl back on and get going again, because there's some more waves coming. And it's beautiful. Exactly. Okay. My goodness. Let's see. Let's get to some fun kind of practical things here that I think will be enjoyable. What is your favorite at this point in the process? What is your favorite kind of like healthy or clean meal, however you want to describe?
Yeah, I've learned to love, the good stuff, the good food. So we are steak eaters. So I really like, a lean top sirloin. So I get them and just cooking it. I'm very salt and pepper and maybe some little steak seasoning on there. And okra is one of my favorite vegetables. So I'll make, steam some okra and have it along with it. And salads are always good. So I love like cucumber, like just a big like veggie salad along with it. And to me, like that's almost a comfort meal for me. But yeah, I love that. And my husband likes it too. So it's something that he eats too.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah.
Some of you may be thinking, wait a minute, steak? Yes, steak. Absolutely. Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So I've got to ask, do you steam the entire like pod of okra?
Yeah, so I'll put it in a pot with like a little bit of water and then cover it and steam it. And I'm very boring. I don't put anything in it. I just eat the okra.
Yeah, because you love the okra.
Steaming it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'll probably edit this out because it'll be way too long of a story, but I find it incredibly humorous, and maybe you will too. Yeah. So in the South, do you mind if I say where you are?
Oh, no. Yeah. Go right ahead.
Emily's in Texas. So she's got her Texas steak and all this. And in the South, I'm in Georgia. Typically, like 99% of the time, we fry okra. It's breaded and fried, right? And so years ago, 20 plus years ago, when I was single, I had a date with a young lady, and I was like, oh, I'm going to cook dinner for her tonight, really impress her. And so I don't know how, but I thought, oh, I'll make some okra. And I didn't want to fry it. I think I'd met this girl at the gym. Imagine that. And so I didn't want to fry it. So I was like, oh, I'll chop it up and boil it like you would a green bean or something like this. Emily, have you ever boiled okra?
I don't know. What does it do?
It
I
is
wonder if I have.
not something I would recommend, especially on a date with a female that you want to impress. So okra has like a when it interacts with water and is heated up, it has like a sliminess to it. And
Yep,
so
right.
when I took it off the stove and put it into the bowl, I was like, "Ooh, this has an odd texture." And then the really fun part was she and I sitting at the table trying to like scoop it and eat it. It was literally like it was this is
String.
it's like it was drenched in like KY jelly or something. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just horrible. And it was stringing like from the spoon to your mouth, and like it was or snot. It was like okra and snot. That's what it was.
Right.
So
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it's just yeah. I bet putting it in the whole pot of water definitely made it. I'm
not
being like super slimy and stringy. Yeah.
yeah. So not cool. Not something. Hey, from a nutrition standpoint, boil that okra up. Fantastic. From a coolness standpoint, with a date, definitely avoid boiling the okra. Okay, that's
Yeah,
enough of that.
love that.
Now, what's one of your favorite delicious, amazing, indulgent meals?
So popcorn is like a big snack for me. I really like popcorn, but that's not a meal. That's a snack. But I am a pasta girl, so I love lasagna, and I love like spaghetti with meatballs. Like any kind of pasta is what I like. Like all of it. So Olive Garden's one of my favorite restaurants because it's got all the lasagna, pasta, like anything. If it's got pasta, it's got a good meat, then I'm and a nice like sauce.
Are
I'm
you more
eating
of
that.
a tomato sauce kind of gal or a cream sauce?
I do. I actually like both. I like the tomato sauce, but yeah, I love a good chicken Alfredo. That's good too with the Alfredo sauce. Yeah.
Mm,
So that's one of my favorite indulgent meals. My husband and I both like the chicken Alfredo, so we'll eat
nice.
that occasionally. Yeah.
I'm a carbonara kind of guy. Have you ever had
Yeah, you know what? I've had it before, but I haven't in a long time. So I
yeah.
need to go back and
Right now people are like, this weight loss podcast is making me want pasta, is making me want
right. I know.
lasagna. What's going on here?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's all about balance, right? It's good to
amen.
still have your meals that you love. You don't want to get rid of those. It's not
The,
sustainable.
that is 100% correct. The problem is, unfortunately, a lot of people have been so chronically out of balance that bringing it back into balance can be a kind of a tough process. And
You're right.
that's
Yes.
that's why we sometimes need a little help. So, okay,
Yes.
I could keep this going forever because I think you have just so much more that you could share, but we will start bringing it to a close right now. What would you say is the number one thing that you want people to know about losing weight or nutrition or body image or whatever? And so basically, like if you were still out there listening, what would you want to say to the old version of yourself?
Yeah, I think again, I feel like I reiterated something already said. Sorry about that.
No, it's
But
no,
I
it's
think
if you did, it's my fault because of how I led you through all this.
oh no, no, I think it's good, and it's good to. I know for me, hearing the same things over and over is helpful for me because like it'll stick sometime, right? But yes, to my old self, to my 20-year-old self who wasn't eating and was happy about her body because I, looked good, but I felt bad. I would just say that you have to find, something sustainable to get you through life to help your nutrition all the way through your life. Certain moments and certain times in your life aren't indicative of how it will be in the future, and so be patient with yourself. Take action even if you might not feel like it. Don't you've mentioned this on your podcast. Don't go with I'm not motivated to work out. I don't feel like doing this. Do it anyway, even if you might not feel like it, because that just helps build that habit and that, like you said, like you always say, that mental muscle. So I think that's the big thing: is be patient with yourself. Realize that life is not gonna always be roses and beautiful and all that stuff, and have to take the steps to do it. I teach piano lessons, and I feel like I teach my kids too. As far as practicing piano, like you said, learning a skill takes practice, and I tell the parents who set practice times for their kids, I'm like, your kid's not always going to want to sit and practice the piano. Even if they're playing a cool song like Peaches from the Mario Brothers movie, the kids love that one, like the Jack Black song. So even if they have that, they're not going to always feel like sitting and playing. So that's why you set a specific time of day and you're like, that's just what you do. So what if you don't feel like it? That's what you do. At 5 o'clock, you sit and practice piano. And I feel like the same thing can be done with your nutrition, and even like exercise. I don't feel like waking up and going to work out, but it's just what I do. I'm going to go do that. I don't have any emotion attached to it. So that was I don't know if that was a roundabout answer. But.
That was fantastic. And that was fantastic. And it's a nice little segue because I wanted to bring this up. So for any of you that missed that, or for some of you, you're listening to this podcast, and if you love Emily as much as all of us in the Inner Circle group do, Emily is a music teacher. She specializes in piano, correct?
You got it. Yep.
And if I had kids and I wanted them to learn the piano, I would want them to learn from Emily. Now, here's the good news. Emily just wrote a freaking book about how to play piano. And I'm going to put the link in the show notes because the book is now available, correct, Emily?
It is. Yeah. I actually have 2 books. So if you have kids who are interested in piano, it's My First Piano Lessons and My First Piano Sheet Music, and they go perfectly together. So it's just for kids. It's written on their level. They can even sit and understand it. And so, yeah, you can purchase it using my link. Yeah. In the show notes, ebnmusic.com/books. And yeah, they're available now. So yeah. Awesome. And you can, and a lot of people think that, buying a book for kids like to learn piano won't work, but this one it's not anything like it on the market because most piano books are for teachers to teach, but this is just for your kids. So I hope they enjoy it.
So what age? I'm just curious, what age bracket are we talking about?
Yeah, so it's best for like 5 years old to 10 years old. But older kids can probably like it too, 11 and 12, but it might be a little bit simple for them, but it's definitely, 5 to 10 is the sweet spot for that.
Great.
So yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Oh, of course. I knew, and this is something else that Emily had shared in the coaching group a while back that she would be writing. I didn't realize this was the second book. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, yes. And so I forgot when we were talking about, life altering stresses, I suppose that spending time writing a book and trying to market it as well is kind of a life altering stress too, because it's kind of like a lot going on. So I had doing all that while I'm going through all these miscarriages. So I was writing the books while going through all that. So, you know what, if I can do this stuff, y'all can. So yeah. Absolutely. So again, if any of you have children, and I only say this because I after you've been in a group and coaching environment with someone over a year, you feel like you kind of get to know them. And Emily's just, in case you can't tell on this podcast episode, she's as good as gold. She's just amazing. And so that means a lot. You are too. I appreciate it. Everything.
Well, you're very kind. But if you have a child between 5 and 10 and you want them, I see it as not only like you mentioned, like, well, I don't know if reading a book would help a child play piano. I see it the other way. I see it as like a double thing. Number one, the child is learning to play a musical instrument. And then number 2, they're reading. Like reading is amazing, right? Like reading comprehension. So but if you have a child between 5 and 10, I'll put that link in the show notes. Say it again, EBN Music.
Thank you. Yeah, it's ebnmusic.com/books. Yep.
Books. Yeah, and that'll be in the show notes. So you can go check that out. And
awesome. Thank you.
With that, let's see. With that, I think we'll wrap it up, Emily, because my goodness, I think we've covered nearly everything. And I just want to say personally, thank you for being who you are. Thank you for helping make the group what it is. You talked about how it's a wonderful place and it's magical, and you are a big part of that. You're a big, an incredibly big part of the Inner Circle family. And so I'm so thankful that you're there. And I'm so thankful that you decided to be open and vulnerable to the extent that you felt comfortable and share a lot of the things, because if not, then who knows if you would be where you are, and who knows if we would be recording this episode right now. So
yeah, I definitely would. And I appreciate it. Thank you. And you do a great job of, some people have talents of creating communities that are supportive. And I think you're really good at that. So I think this Inner Circle is really special. It's not like anything else. So I think you're great at it.
that's again, that's very kind of you. I give God the credit for that, because you never know who's going to come in, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And I'm thankful for everyone there. So Emily, thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I hope you have an incredible day.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh my goodness. I hope all of you enjoyed that interview as much as I enjoyed talking with Emily. As we wrap up, just 2 quick friendly reminders. 1, listen, man, gosh, please share this episode with someone. Nearly everyone has been impacted by fertility issues and miscarriages. And I believe 100% that this could be helpful for someone you know. So just take 10 seconds and share the link to this episode with someone who you know could benefit. And lastly, if you want to have breakthroughs like Emily had, like she discussed in this episode, then don't forget to go to everybodyhatesdiets.com. That link is in the show notes, and register for my free class on Thursday, August 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It could be the first step in a wonderfully positive direction in your life. I can't wait to see you then. Take care, my friends. God bless. Bye-bye.